In Pantheon, tanking isn't about standing still and absorbing punishment. It's about making choices, calculated, high-stakes decisions that define your group's fate. This is the Arcane Knight. The Arcane Knight is the last standing soldier of a fallen empire, a guardian whose armor is as much arcane artifact as it is steel. But this is not your typical tank. The Arcane Knight breaks the fundamental rule of traditional tanking. They don't have hit points. Not really. Instead, they have something far more precious and far more fragile. A mana shield. This is their true health bar. Every drop of mana fueling this barrier is the difference between victory and catastrophic failure. Here's where it gets terrifying. If that mana shield falls, and it will fall if you're not careful, you become what we call a glass tank. Your armor turns into a liability. You're slowed, weakened, and every hit hurts exponentially more. The fragility debuff transforms you from unkillable guardian into the squishiest target on the battlefield. This is intentional. This is the core mechanic that defines Arcane Knight gameplay. You are not passively surviving. You are actively managing a resource that, when depleted, means almost certain death. Your survival depends on precision, timing, and group coordination. But here's the beautiful part. Every healing spell targeted at you doesn't heal your body. It feeds your mana shield. Your healers become your mana batteries. This is kinetic conversion, and it's the single most group synergistic mechanic in Pantheon. You're not just a tank who stands there and takes damage. You're a conduit. You transform your healer's output directly into your survival resource. When your mana shield is critical and your healer knows it, that targeted heal becomes an anchor, a moment of perfect coordination between two players working as one. This is what separates the Arcane Knight from passive tanks. You demand communication. You demand attention. You reward perfect group play. Now, let's talk about how you actually fight. Your primary tool is Arcane Resonance. You channel mana directly into your weapon, building up magical energy with every passing second. This energy stacks, channeling faster and faster until you strike. That's when the built-up power explodes outward. But here's the decision. What weapon are you using? Pick up a two-hander, and Arcane Resonance becomes a powerful, paced ability. Big damage numbers, wide intervals, high mana investment. You're playing a different game. Switch to dual-wielded weapons, and Arcane Resonance transforms. Smaller ticks of damage, faster attack speed, lighter mana drain per hit. You're cycling faster, hitting harder but smaller. The resource management becomes a rhythm. Or take the balanced route, sword and shield. Standard mana consumption, reliable damage, steady threat generation. This is your neutral, your baseline, your foundation. When things go wrong, when enemies swarm, when your healer's in danger, when you need to scream for attention, you hit the emergency button. Arcane Pulse. Arcane Pulse is a short-range, massive threat burst. Every enemy caught in the shockwave will turn and stare at you. It's the most reliable taunt in your arsenal. But there's a price. This ability is wildly inefficient. You're dumping mana at rates that your neutral resource generation can't match. You're below break-even, falling fast. When you hit Arcane Pulse, you're making a bet that your group can lock down these targets and feed you mana, or you're collapsing. Coordinate with your group, hit that button, and watch perfect teamwork unfold. Hit it alone? You're playing with fire. Your ultimate ability is Arcane Retribution. This is where the Arcane Knight's identity reaches its peak. When you trigger this ability, you enter a temporal shield. For a brief window, you absorb all incoming damage, completely. Every hit, every spell, every ounce of harm is sucked into a buffer. But here's the critical part. You must release this absorbed damage onto an enemy before the window closes. This is not a passive survive button. This is a ticking time bomb. If you release properly, all that damage explodes outward onto your target. Massive, earth-shattering burst damage that confirms why you're standing there. But if you miss the window, if you're too slow, that accumulated damage doesn't disappear. It detonates inward. Arcane Retribution is the ultimate high-wire act. Master it, and you're a legend. Fumble the timing, and you've possibly just ended your group's run. This is what separates veteran Arcane Knights from everyone else. Now, let's talk about the three faces of the Arcane Knight. These are your stances, each one completely redefining how you approach combat. First, the bulwark, sword and shield. This is your neutral state, your reliable foundation. With the Pact of the Aegis ability, you achieve perfect mana neutrality. You tank like a warrior would, solid, dependable, zero resource drain. But instead of hit points, you're generating mana shield. The bulwark is where you prepare. While your group gets settled, while the fight is manageable, you're banking mana shield resource. You're building your reserves. You're the economic version of tanking. This is your foundation, your default, the stance you return to when the fight stabilizes. Then there's the Crusader, two-handed weapon, massive, slow, devastating. This is the mana sink. This is where you transform from the team's protector into the team's primary threat generator. The Crusader mode generates tremendous threat and astronomical DPS. Your arcane resonance hits like a meteor, but your mana consumption skyrockets. You're burning through your mana shield faster than you can naturally regenerate. You need your healers watching you constantly. You need kinetic conversion to trigger regularly. You need your group's output feeding into your survival. The Crusader isn't a solo tank. It's a threat generator that demands full group attention. But when your group is locked in, when the coordination is perfect, the Crusader is unstoppable. You're the battering ram your team needs. Finally, the Arcanist. Dual-wielded weapons. Fast, efficient, and the class's most specialized configuration. The Arcanist achieves the highest resource efficiency through sheer attack speed. But the Arcanist is more than just a DPS increase. It's where the Arcane Knight becomes a utility player. Your specialization unlocks Elemental Split, the ability to infuse your weapons with two different elements simultaneously. Equip Frost on one blade and Shadow on the other. Your Frost attacks stun enemies, locking them down. Your Shadow attacks apply damage over time effects, adding insidious pressure. You're no longer just a tank generating threat. You're a tactical control operator. The Arcanist is the most flexible Arcane Knight stance. High efficiency, high utility, lower mana demand than the Crusader. You can adapt to whatever your group needs. More control, more pressure, more sustainability. You're the thinking knight. The Arcane Knight isn't a tank that forgives mistakes. It's a tank that rewards mastery. Every ability is a choice. Every second is a resource decision. Every group fight is a dance between your mana consumption and your healer's output. This is tanking with teeth. This is the Arcane Knight. For those ready to master the blade and the mana, Pantheon awaits.